And we are back. We are the Channel 135 podcast, the show where we talk about our favorite things in life, movies, TV shows, and pop culture. I'm your host, Cams, and I'm here with the Usos. We've got Bobby here from the 135 Footy Show, our NRL podcast. What's up, my man?
How's it, Usos? Good to be back on another episode speaking about Andor and how it ended. So good to be on.
Yeah, man, it's good to have you on, bro. It's good to have fans of Star Wars on a podcast to nerd out on. It's pretty cool, especially on a Friday night before the NRL starts. But also here, straight out of Ranui, got also Eric. What's up, bro?
Hey, man. Back again.
Yeah, man, back again. Yeah, man, the Channel 135 is brought to you by the WesWes Network. It's brought to you by WesWesNet.com. We are here to talk about Andor, the last 3 episodes of season 2. But before we do that, we're going to get into a new segment. I'm introducing the start of this podcast is the channel recommends. So it's just a little thing that we'll do in the beginning where we just talk about what we recommend to our listeners in terms of what we're watching on TV and any movies or any trailers out now. But since we all watch the same thing, and since we all got the same thing we're going to talk about, it's the Superman movie that's due to come out 11th of July this year. The teaser trailer came out earlier on this year, and now the full official trailer number 1 has come out. So we all had a little watch of that. I'll come to you first, Eric. Your first thoughts on the Superman movie?
Yeah, it's very, very brightly colored film, eh? Like the colors of the film straight off the bat, they're really bright. It's a bright looking movie.
If you compare it to the Man of Steel and
the
Zack Snyder version of Superman, yeah, it's very bright. Eh?
Yeah, it's out there. It's very bright. What I could pick up from the trailer, because I also watched Peacemaker. I think I was telling you earlier, the trailer for that, and the Green Lantern on there is the same one on Superman, with the bowl looking haircut, looking old dude. So yeah, so I when I saw him.
Yeah,
I didn't. Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Oh, it looks good, eh? I wasn't expecting to watch that trailer because I was going to wait until the movie comes out. It's not too far off. I think we only got another month and a bit. I don't think this second trailer hit me as hard as the first one. The first one, well, I was like, whoa, damn, that was mean. This one was like, okay. Kind of the same thing, but yeah, we'll wait until the movie comes out then. But yeah, no, it's got me revved up.
It's all part of the whole new reset for DC. So, they're falling far behind from what Marvel Studios is doing. And, the DC stuff hasn't been that great. They grabbed James Gunn from Marvel Studios. So he was the director for the Guardians of the Galaxy. So he's grabbed them to helm the whole DC Studios now. So sort of like a reboot. And it starts with the Superman movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you see Guy Gardner in that Peacemaker trailer for season 2. So that's sort of introducing the whole DC universe as a whole way. Like all these characters are going to jump in and out of the different shows through TV and the movies, just like what Marvel Studios is doing. So
yeah, I thought it was cool. I was probably the opposite to Eric in terms of the teaser one that came out. I still had Henry Cavill sort of hangover, thinking, man, they shouldn't have dropped Henry Cavill. He was Superman. So I didn't take too much interest in the teaser trailer, but now that the official trailer's dropped, they've got real nostalgia vibes with this trailer. Like they've got the same sort of graphics from that original Superman 1970, whatever it was. The Christopher Reeve one with the graphics, and they've got the theme song playing along in the background. I was like, wow, these guys are pulling on those nostalgia heartstrings, man, and they really want me to get invested in this new Superman. To be honest, I wasn't really in that teaser, but this one, it's piqued my interest a bit because they've got a whole bunch of characters that they introduce. Like the first one, you thought it was just going to be Superman. You don't know really who the bad guy's going to be. You sort of get a glimpse of what I'm assuming is Lex Luthor, and he's got some powerful allies that are able to come into the Fortress of Solitude. You've got like that lady with the spinning blade hands who gets smashed in the face by the introduced Crypto in this one. So I was like, oh, that's different, and it's taken from that stance where the first original sort of Superman movies is Clark Kent's trying to hide his identity from Lois, and we don't know. Everyone's going, oh man, when is she going to find out? Is she going to find out? Whereas this is sort of, it's now past that. They're in a relationship. She knows that he's Superman already. So there's none of that sort of story going on. It's more what else is now going to happen. So he stopped a war apparently between two warring states or groups, and now that's apparently not a good thing. So yeah, I thought it was cool because there's lots of callbacks to that original Superman sort of franchise, the Christopher Reeves one. And there's lots to look forward to because they've got Mr. Terrific. I saw in the trailer, and you sort of see him if you've watched Flash and like those Green Arrow ones that were on the CW network. Mr. Terrific was introduced in that one. It was interesting, their take, just like their take on the Flash was. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with him in the movie. You mentioned Guy Gardner as the Green Lantern that they've got on this one. People were dogging him with his haircut, but that's comic book accurate. Like, he looks like that with the bowl haircut in the comic books. I don't know why, but I think it was probably something to do with the time his character was introduced. Maybe it was a popular haircut back in that time when the animators were drawing him out. I don't know. But yeah, it'll be cool to see the impact of all of those superheroes that they're introducing in this sort of reboot movie, but they've just dumped a whole lot of different characters in. The original, the Henry Cavill one where Man of Steel came out, was kind of just him, and then one group of baddies. There's multiple characters in this flying around, so I'm like, oh, okay. And they've even introduced his dog. Yeah, looking forward to it when it comes out now. Wasn't before, but it looks like it's got everything going. I hope it's not one of those movies where they dumped everything in the trailer. And then when you go and watch it, it's like, oh man, you sucked me in. Got me good, man. So I'm hoping it's not one of those movies.
So are you saying that you saw the teaser, it didn't really do anything, and then this trailer, the official, has made you more excited?
Yeah, because I was team Henry Cavill all the way. With his version of Superman, and also, I'm a big Rock fan, and so when Rock was sort of teasing at the end of his movie, Black Adam, where he had sort of, and the way that he had sort of amped up, and he was promoting that there was going to be this big fight between him and Henry Cavill's Superman, and then DC just sort of went, hey, wiped the slate clean and said, Dwayne Johnson, you don't have the power, bro. We've got the power. So I was looking forward to that. And then when that didn't happen, I was like, oh. I just became a bit of a hater, to be honest. And that teaser trailer was like, man, it's going to be inferior. It's going to be inferior. But the official trailer looked pretty good, actually.
Yeah. I loved it, I loved it. And man, I've been longing for DC to try and do something about this situation in the movie part of their business there, because they have been doing well. I wasn't too keen on the Zack Snyder stuff. Maybe he suits doing Batman, but not Superman, because it was real dark and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I was glad that DC's got the act together, and they want to do better than they have been doing. So I'm hoping that the Superman will kickstart their their lift off to fucking compete with Marvel Studios there.
Yeah.
So, and it looks like they've got all the formula there, the Marvel Studio formula, because what Marvel's doing, even though I think last phase 5 of Marvel hasn't been that great. Phase 5 is straight after Endgame. It hasn't been that great. But Thunderbolts is sort of like a good sign that Marvel Studios is going back to where they were before. But so I think DC needs something to happen, and I think Superman this new Superman movie will do that. So yeah, man, just like what you guys said, I like how they introduce all the DC characters, or starting to introduce some more DC characters, and trying to create the real universe, right? So
Yeah, it looks like the start of the Justice League almost.
well, yeah, you never know, like what would the Justice League look like in a few years' time if they decide to go that way, which I think they probably will.
Yep.
I feel you, Bob, on the Henry Cavill, because he was good. He looked Superman. He looked like Superman.
Man.
He was a perfect casting for the Zack Snyder one. And this is a good test. This new actor, I don't know his name. I didn't catch his name, but yeah, he got a lot of hate. He got a lot of hate. He's getting a lot of hate from social media, from everybody. And it sort of reminds me when the first Batman film came out, when they said that Michael Keaton was going to be Bruce Wayne, and everyone was hating on him. But he turned out to be pretty good, So I'm hoping it's going to be a thing like that, where this guy's not Henry Cavill. He doesn't look like Superman, but he might be the man at the end of the day. So
yeah, imagine their next casting for Batman. Holy shit! We'll get more hate.
Well, that's the thing. There's so many past DC stuff that's not going to be in this canon anymore.
Yeah.
How do you disregard? You got all this other universes. You got the Batman, the current Batman film, which is they're still going to do, but it's going to be in a different universe.
Yeah.
So when they introduce the Batman and the Superman in this DC universe, it will be a different actor.
Yeah.
To play that Batman. It won't be the Batman that we've seen in the films.
Robert Pattinson one, eh?
Yeah. So
and with the multiverse, they can bring all of those former actors who played different versions of these characters into an amazing movie down the line if it's got a great story and someone writes it really well, and it's, I don't know, if it fits into like a comic book accurate story. DC's got the potential to really knock it out of the park. I just had a look at the Superman guy. His name's David Corenswet. His initials are DC.
There you go.
It was made for this.
It's a good omen right there.
It was made for it, all right. But you look at the Marvel world and their universe, and what they've done has been amazing, because they've taken these little known characters from comics, built this entire universe around them, made amazing movies, and now people know who, in the comic book world, it's like they're real part-time characters, like real small, compared to like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, all of the DC stuff. Marvel's characters are minor, but now because they've got all these super popular billion-dollar franchise movies, they are majorly known throughout the world now because of how popular the movies have been and how successful they've been. Whereas DC's characters, they didn't have to sort of worry about people not knowing who Superman was. Everybody knows who Superman is. You've just got to have a really good story, and don't kill it with heaps of CGI or whatever. You're gonna, you don't need to do that. It just needs to be a really good story. I just want to touch on that thing that Eric said. Yeah, man, that trailer is super bright. Those shades of blue, yellow, and red.
Yeah, bro.
Are like
they
real
stand out,
pop, man. And there is no, whereas Zack Snyder might have been super dark Superman, this guy is back to, I'm the guy standing in the sunlight.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to save the world again.
Yeah, I know.
It's got those vibes, eh?
Even the S insignia on him, like, it looks different. So I guess that's a way for him to differentiate. This is the Superman we're gonna do, and so our S is gonna be slightly different to what we've done before. But yeah, man, it's
instead of DC falling down, I like the animated stuff, eh? Most of the DC. Actually,
the animated stuff have been doing well.
It's really, really good. So I love their stories on there. But yeah, it's not up to par with the actual version films.
I also appreciate, like, you guys touched on it, you touched on it, but Bob, how we get straight into it. Like, we don't have to have an origin story anymore.
Yeah,
like, everybody knows the origin of Superman. If you don't, then I don't know, you must be born 5 years ago. But it's like, yeah, we don't need to do all that now. We can get straight into it. Even we don't have to have the Lois Lane not knowing who Clark Kent is. So yeah, I appreciate all that because now we can get on with it, get into the action. Now, boys, that's good. Review on that, and keen to watch Superman when it comes out, July 11th.
Yeah,
on I think it's going to be on the big screen. What's the big screen?
IMAX.
Yeah, IMAX.
Oh, you reckon? Can check it out on IMAX? Hell yeah.
Yeah, I reckon.
I'm more keen to watch it now.
All right, boys. Now we're here to talk about Andor, the finale, the last 3 episodes of Andor season 2. And before we get into it, we're gonna spoiler alert, and we're gonna do some spoilers. So before we do that, we're going to do the Channel 135 recap of the last 3 episodes. Here we go. A year following the events on Gorman, Lonnie gains access to Deidre's personal files and discovers a secret project the Empire has been working on. He gives this information to Luthen, warning that Deidre has likely uncovered both their identities. Though he initially promises Lonnie and his family safe passage from Coruscant, Luthen kills him to ensure his silence. As Luthen destroys the comm systems in the shop, Deidre arrives and confronts him. Luthen attempts suicide and is taken gravely injured to a hospital as Clea watches from afar. Deidre is arrested by the ISB for withholding information. Interspersed throughout the episode, flashbacks reveal that Luthen was an Imperial officer who defected after his unit massacred Clea's hometown. Finding her hiding in his ship, he informally adopts her, and the two begin selling antiques while waging resistance against the Empire. In the present, Clea sneaks into the hospital and shuts off Luthen's life support system. Deidre is interrogated by Olsen. Krennic tells her off for allowing her data to be leaked and confronting Luthen alone. The investigation is assigned to Hurt, who identifies Clea and Polynesian declares her a public health concern to aid her arrest. In the safe house, Clea contacts Wilman, who in turn recruits Cassian, Naoshi, and K2SO to retrieve Luthen, despite rebel leadership being fed up with their disobedience. Deidre gives Hart insight into Luthen's communications, and his team tracks Clea to the safe house right after Cassian and Naoshi enter to retrieve her. She reveals that the Empire is building a secret weapon, but wishes to stay behind as the rebels on Yavin 4 deeply distrust Luthen's cell. Hurt's team closes in. K2SO enters the building and begins attacking Imperials. K2SO kills Hurt and his team, but Clea is gravely wounded. Cassian, Masha, and K2SO take her back to the Yavin 4, where they are grounded for their disobedience. Much of the rebel leadership, including Bale, do not trust Luthen's intel, but Mon Mothma is willing enough to hear Clea out. Val talks with Cassian, who convinces her of Luthen's integrity, and they toast their fallen comrades. As a rebel informant associated with Saw contacts Yavin 4 begging to talk with Cassian, the rebel leadership realizes that the evidence is too great to be a trap and agrees to let Cassian and K2SO fly to Catherine to meet with the informant. Clea accepts her role on Yavin 4 with Woman, Mon, and Val. Partagaz commits suicide upon realizing he is to be arrested, while a weeping Deidre is imprisoned in a facility similar to Nakina 5. On Mineral, B2MO plays with another droid while Bix cradles a baby as she holds wistfully towards the horizon. And that was your Channel 135 Andor recap.
Longest recap ever.
Man, I thought I read short and
Wow, that must have taken the whole episode.
All right. Start with you, Bob. First thoughts.
I thought it was amazing, and I'm super sad that the season is finished, and Andor is finished too, because the events of these last 3 episodes lead straight into Rogue One. So, man, it was such a massive finale for me, and I was really interested to see how Tony Gilroy was gonna wrap up all the storylines with a lot of these major characters, because you know that heaps of them don't appear in Rogue One. You kind of wonder, okay, are they going to die? Are they just going to be characters that are there in the background, but they don't feature because they're not in Rogue One? You kind of wonder where they are. So yeah, I thought it was a really good way to sort of send off some of those characters. Luthen, I was like, oh man, that guy's for the cause, man. He's like, yeah, I know you found me, and now I'm just gonna stab myself. And man, the guy committed seppuku. He was like, I'm gonna ritual sacrifice myself. That's how much he believed in the rebellion against the Empire. So, you got to see how truly committed he was. He wasn't just willing to risk other people's lives for the cause. He was ready to die for the cause, and to see him do what he did, and then for Claire to have to go in and sort of finish it off, I was like, oh dang, like that would have been massive for her, and even more so because they had all those flashbacks of how this guy's like her dad, rescuing her from her home world getting annihilated back in the day. So they had a father-daughter relationship, and it was super close, and you got to see how close they were because you were wondering the whole time through seasons 1 and 2 is like, well, they've got this real anti-love-hate relationship going on. I say, why is it? And then you see why. It's like, okay. She pretty much learned everything from him from scratch. You saw when she was a little girl, and she was just full of hate and full of just want to get revenge and want to do it this way, and and then Luthen's like telling you, no, don't do it. You're not prepared yet. You're not ready. Yeah, I'll blow the bridge up and kill all those guys. So yeah, first thoughts. I thought those first few episodes and then the last one, it was a really tidy sort of wrapped it all up, ready to go into. As soon as it finishes, Rogue One. It's like, yeah, that's the guy. That's the contact that they're gonna meet. It's like, okay. I remember now what happened. It's like, So yeah, I thought it was really good.
How about you, Eric? Your first thoughts?
Yeah, like Bob. Yeah, wow. It's the last 3 episodes were great, and yeah, I was trying to find the words. I don't know if sad was the right thing to say, but I think I was more grateful to witness these last 3 episodes to the closure of Andor. And yeah, it's tidied up really well. But like how you said, Bob, with that last scene, yeah, that got me a little. With Bex holding the baby and stuff, that was pretty cool. Because you know how it ends for Andor, for his next mission, and the following up to the First Hope, and then the trilogies and that, and after that, so it was a good program. I really enjoyed it, big time.
Yeah, you wonder if Andor's son is gonna grow up to be a Jedi, or is he fourth sensitive, or are they gonna revisit Andor's? This is his family, right? Bix and the son will grow up, and are they gonna revisit him when he's old, as an adult?
I thought it was a girl.
I don't know. Girl, was a girl.
I think the community was saying it's a girl.
Oh.
Star Wars fan club. But yeah,
okay.
I think. Well, either way, if it's a girl or a boy, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, no, it'll be cool if we can see them in the future. But yeah, it'll be busy.
Just like you, Bob, I turned on Rogue One straight away, and I forwarded that first bit with with Krennic, trying to get Urso to see what happens when Andor goes to that. It's an asteroid thing, asteroids city when he meets that contact.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was funny because when he kills that guy, when the stormtroopers show up, and he kills the guy because he can't climb up the thing to escape. And I remember back then when I first saw Rogue One and Cassian kills him, I was like shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, he just killed him. But you know what? After when he kills him, that time I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, nah, that's Cassian. That's what he does. Because we're used to it now. Because we watched Andor. That's the kind of level of of what you have to be when you're a rebel spy. You gotta do all that ruthless stuff. Like, man, I remember thinking, wow, this guy's ruthless. Who's this guy? And the hit different after watching Andor, and when he does it, and that's every day for Cassian. That's what he does, man.
I had that on season 1. On I think it was the first episode when he's crossing the bridge, trying to get into that town to the bar to meet with his contact, but he had to kill those 2 Imperial guards, and I was like, oh shit, that's right, this guy kills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that on season 1. That was badass.
My first thoughts. Oh man, if I just think about the whole season as a whole, the 2 TV series I rate in my sort of Sky Tower of TV series all time. Right, number 1 for me is Sopranos. Number 2 is The Wire. I don't have a number 3. I think, guys, Andor might be number 3, man. might be in there.
True.
It's close, man. It's fucking great. It's good. It's, man, the level of storytelling you get in Andor, how dense it is, everything about it, man. Like, it just hits different, man, and just great writing. We speak of this every time we do this podcast day because we're just blown away by the, how sophisticated it is and how everything connects. The characters, the story, what it takes to begin a rebellion, the dirty side of it, the ruthless side of it. Like, these are characters like Luthen. He has an idea of what it takes, right? And it's not pretty. And it's not like the goody two shoe stuff. Like when we get to Star Wars, the original Star Wars, and we see the rebels and we see the Empire. It's good versus evil, right? We see the rebels as good, like they're good. Like there's something wholesome about them, right? They're doing the right thing. They're trying to fight the oppressors, but you don't really get to like know how they get there, right? But what Andor does is gives us that sort of realization that it's not straightforward, right? It's not like, oh, these guys are bad, we have to come together to fight the bad people. No, you got to actually do more than that, right? And Andor focuses on that stuff, on the stuff that Luthen does. Everything's for the cause, and when he dies, he's dying for the cause. Nothing is bigger than he's not bigger than the cause. No one is bigger than the cause, right? And that's an interesting thing to look at, right? So that's one of the biggest things in the story that just makes me think, wow, you actually went there in the Star Wars universe, that level of storytelling. Nah, it's great. It's great. And heartbreaking too. The kid knowing that Andor's gonna die. How Luthen dies is pretty sad.
Yeah.
But also the way Clea, like, was there a time when she was doing her plan thing at the hospital? Was there a time you thought that she was there to rescue him or to kill him? Because I clicked when she was walking towards him, when she saw those explosions downstairs and all the stormtroopers in that ran to the explosion and she was walking past and she was walking towards him. I clicked and said, oh, I think she's gonna turn off the life support thing. I didn't think at that point, at that moment, I thought, nah, she's not gonna save him. She's actually gonna kill him, right? Because when you see the flashbacks, it was like he's training her how to be a spy. Like, you're not bigger than the cause. So if you need a sacrifice, you need a sacrifice. That's why he kills Lonnie when he tells him the plans about the Death Star. And that was bad too, because he talked about, oh, I got my family. I need to get my family. I need to get out of here. And
Hopefully
he just kills him just like that, So
yeah, hopefully he got the family up. It's alright if he just killed the guy, but man, if the family's still there, shit.
Saying that could have potentially led to Luthen. So, he can't risk sending this guy somewhere to get caught and then tortured and then the whole operation falls apart. So he got the information out of him. Yeah. Okay, you come close.
Just to get the information out, just that little piece of information.
But at the end of it, I was thinking, you realize how big Luthen is, How because man, when I was thinking about when the rebels finally defeat the Empire and Return of the Jedi, I'm gonna put a statue up of Luthen somewhere, because that guy, he's the one that they want to Andor was right when he was arguing with Mon and them on Yavin 4. Yeah, they didn't believe the story because they sort of disowned Luthen at that point, sort of thing,
Yeah, they've gone into they actually I didn't I always said this throughout the whole series. I was like, this is not the Rebel Alliance that I know until the last episode when they start becoming the Rebel Alliance. But then I realized shit, these guys are assholes too. They, even though they're giving the piece of information from Luthen, because where he comes from, he's looked upon as an extremist as well, like Saw.
Hmm.
So I think they categorized both of them as the same, but Solo's he's really out of his rocker. But yeah, that was the thing to see there. I hated that part of the scene. I was like, far out. Are you assholes?
But that was interesting too, because Andor was like arguing for him, right?
Yeah.
They're sort of erasing what Luthen has done from the start. Like the amount of work that he has done to make this happen, there's a lot, and they're just brushing it off, right?
Yeah. The only one that had his back really there on the table was Mothma.
Eventually,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you realize the impact of Luthen on the whole start of the Rebel Alliance. Like, that guy's pretty much the father of the Rebel Alliance. And what he created, all of the people that sort of came along, they tried to put some structure to it. They had all these rules, and he didn't want to operate like that. He was hard out just trying to destabilize the Empire. But he was Malcolm X, man. By any means necessary guy. He was one to do it. Like, I didn't need to come and sit around a table with 10 people to get an agreement on something. If I see something that's going to benefit us, I'm going to do it. I don't need your permission. If I'm going to kill this guy, like you say, Cam, it's going to save 10,000 people. Sweet. But, you know, he was about getting information that protected the Rebel Alliance in that beginning. You know, all of the stuff that he was collecting, people might not have known why he was doing the things he was doing, only that he didn't like the Empire and that he was sort of setting up the groundwork for the Rebel Alliance to be born from it. And you're right, like, those guys were trying to have the Rebel Alliance be legitimized by having all these ex-senators come in, and we're now these people of power and influence from the former Senate, and we don't want to really be associating the Rebel Alliance with like an individual troublemaker like Luthen was. But it was like, hey man, you're absolutely discarding all of the great work that Luthen and his band of spies they got around the galaxy to help destabilize the Empire and to try and find out what the hell's going on. Because without that network of, you know, espionage and stuff that the Rebel Alliance and that Cassian and all of his crew were doing, doesn't matter how many soldiers and armies you got. If you don't know what the hell's going on, you don't know what sort of, I don't know, how big the army is, what weapons they're working on, what the capability of your enemy is. You know, in real life, that underground network of spies during World War II, like French resistance and that shit helped with World War II. If you didn't have those guys sacrificing themselves to get information to the Allied forces, man, we wouldn't have had D-Day, man. We wouldn't have beaten Germany. But, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, you're right. They did try to erase his influence, I feel. Yeah, like Eric was saying, that you did kind of think, this sucks. These guys are shitting on the man's legacy. You're trying to listen it to a point. When you're right, that man should have had a statue at the end of Return of the Jedi, man. He's the main reason why they started in the first place.
Hold on. They're just trying to get everybody together, like in the first season. I think he was trying to get, you know, Ferrex on board, but he didn't have to, because Endor's mother did the rest of her mighty speech, and people started rallying against the Empire. So, but yeah, he was the man.
When Deidre she shows up to the that was a tense scene when she was showing. I didn't know what was going on, if she knew she was there to arrest him, but as soon as she took out that communicator thingy,
found that her story was real parallel to Cyril's. So Cyril hard out focus on Cassian, and hers was hard out focus on, she didn't know it at the time, but on Luthen. On what was the name that they called him? Oh, the thing that she was chasing that whole time. She knew that there was someone.
Axis.
Yeah, Axis.
Yeah.
And so when I was like, man, she was just solely focused on getting her hands on Axis, not realizing, you know. And then you saw all of the stuff that she had done in the background, like when she was getting interviewed by what's his name?
Krennic.
Yeah. and how he was saying that there were like documents that mistakenly were sent to her office, and she happened to look at it, and
Yeah.
she didn't read everything, but what she saw was like, oh, I'm going to use this information to get my ass up there in the ranks of officers, and instead of reporting that this information, she used bits and pieces, and then it was hard to then sort of corroborate whether she was telling the truth or whether she was a rebel spy, because fuck, we don't know. All I know is these documents ended up on your desk and you didn't report it. You tried to use it to go and arrest Luthen by yourself when you knew who he was. You didn't tell anyone. You were trying to glory hound, man. And in the end, it backfired. Mean. And so I was like, oh, God, I'm fired. Now you really see how twisted the Empire is. Like, they don't care, man. They don't care. If you fuck up, there are no second chances. You get your
they
ass
always try
force
to
choked.
get up. They always try to get above each other.
That's right. If you're in the presence of Darth Vader on the Star Destroyer and you fuck up, you're getting choked to death, man. You're getting 4 strokes straight away, man.
Get harder. Like, that guy was like the lieutenant, and then he became commander.
Yeah.
Instant promotion.
Yeah, man. So that was a good scene. That scene when Krennic was interrogating her.
Yeah,
man.
man,
You know what?
mean.
I was thinking about his character, Krennic, and he's scary. Like all through this season, like as far as the hierarchy of Imperial officers go, Orson Krennic is the highest we see in this 2 seasons, right? We don't see the Emperor. They mention the Emperor's name, we don't see him. They don't say Vader's name. We see officers, but I think the highest officer we actually see in this whole series is Krennic. So he comes across real scary. He has that argument with Mon at that party, that episode last week. That he's sort of taking control of that. When he's interrogating Deidre, like, he's scary, and he's powerful way. He's like a powerful dude. And I think if you don't watch any other Star Wars and you just watch this one and you see him as this big powerful dude, you're like, man, he's gonna beat this guy, And then when you see Rogue One and he goes and visits Darth Vader, he's like small. He gets, he's small, and then he gets his project taken off him by Tucken.
Yeah,
like he comes along and it's like yours and more's mine. Like he gets upset. It's like he gets treated like a little shit. Like he gets treated.
And then Moff Tarkin's like, wait, yes, the project does work. I will be assuming control.
Yeah.
It's my project.
You get my project. It's my success.
Exactly. And like, what? Andor's 10 years before the Battle of Yavin, is it? So that was pretty much the start of the building of the Death Star.
Yeah,
10 years. So he's in charge. He was in charge for 10 years, man. Krennic was in charge for 10 years. He gets built and it gets taken off him.
And it took him that long to figure out what was going on because of all the propaganda and all of the smoke screens and with all the misinformation floating around the galaxy.
Yeah, I think it was because of the Rebel Alliance getting a hold of the information. That's why I think that's a big part of Krennic's downfall. As soon as they got that, was it later?
Well, he was pissed off, when the news of the Death Star, or they try to hide it with another name, news of the Death Star, it goes out. But it's funny how he tries to get Deidre to say the name because he's not sure if she knows or what. As soon as she says Death Star, he knows, you know about it.
Yeah,
I'll put all the blame on you now. You're going to be the scapegoat if I get in trouble, because I know I'm getting in trouble from up high. They're asking me, man, how did they know about the? Man, I gotta go find the person. Deidre goes straight to jail.
Fuck,
so I like sad ending for her, but
yeah, I like his high tones and his low tones and how he uses his voice interrogating that Deidre. Is fucking break up. Talks quietly and then he just suddenly shouts at her. She like jumps out of her seat, kind of. Fucking no.
So like, okay, it takes 10 years for them to build the Death Star. We know that it's built in Rogue One. How many weeks before it blows up? Battle of Yavin. What, 2 weeks? 2 weeks before it blows up?
I reckon it's probably less than that. Like if you rewatch Star Wars, like it's a really short. Like even if you account for space days or whatever, it seems like that longer period
space days.
between the droids ending up
Well,
finding.
they got light speed, so they can get
That's what I mean.
planet to planet
It's like
That's
a week.
in seconds.
Yeah,
in
a week.
minutes.
That's the other thing.
They don't time skip in the movie or anything. They scene jump, but there's like there's no.
But in the beginning of each episode, you see it goes to BBY. I just figured out, you know, before the Battle of Yavin. So the last episode was 1 year before. So yeah, it would have been about a year from that episode, the last episode, to the Battle of Yavin when the Death Star was destroyed. Does that sound right?
Yes, I reckon it was 2 weeks between Rogue One and the Death Star blowing up.
Yeah.
So I reckon
Because
it's like 1
Star
week.
Wars starts straight after Rogue One.
Yeah.
So there's probably that 1 week that took Luke and Han Solo to rescue Leia, and then the next week was them planning and figuring out the plans that they got from Leia, from Cassian, and then sending it off Scarif.
Yeah.
And then that second week was the plan lead up. Let's attack. It's like it doesn't seem like a long period of time between.
No, it's not. I agree with you. I agree with you. 2 weeks. 2 weeks tops. From Rogue One to when the Battle of Yavin, 2 weeks. And then, if you think about it, that's how important that information was to get from Luthen to the rebels, right? Because they blew up the Death Star in 2 weeks, man. You know? Imagine if they didn't get those plans, man. It probably took ages for the Death Star till they figured it out, or maybe not figure it out. You know?
Yeah.
But they don't mess around, man. Like,
yeah, watching Andor, you now realize, okay, so they did in Rogue One, they did the test on Jeddah, and then in Star Wars, they blew up Alderaan, and that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
These guys had built 10 years, took 10 years to build this amazing weapon. They blew up one city, they blew up one planet, and then the big weapon gets blown up. All these resources, you didn't even get to play with it that much. It was gifts.
And then just did it again on Scarif, but wow, right.
But does the Empire know that there's they get an Urso built safe thing in the Death Star?
I don't think so.
No way. No. So when they build it again, they build it with the same specs, the same plans. They built the Death Star. They built the same failsafe thing, without knowing.
Yeah, surely not.
Because in the Return of
the second one,
in the Return of the Jedi, they fly straight to the core. Where the first one, they
knew where it was.
Core, because
they shut the core from the top.
Half of it's not built. They just took the short.
Yeah. I think there was Palpatine doing that on purpose, making it out that the Death Star wasn't operational. Because the rumor was it wasn't fully, working. But then
the Rebel fleet,
when the Rebels Alliance turned up, they
fully operational.
My weapon is fully operational, as you can see.
Yeah, so
it must be 10 years between Star Wars and Return of the Jedi. Sort of half complete.
And it's interesting because they make the gun first on the second Death Star.
Yeah.
So they can start shooting things while it's being built. Still under construction, we can still blow up shit.
Yeah, we're on Andor. They did everything else, and then they were like getting the final pieces, the materials in it for the gun, like the kyber crystals in it.
I think they realized that there was a whole lot of extra shit that they didn't need from the first Death Star. It was like, cut out all these crew quarters. I don't need any of that. Just the guys on the main bridge that are shooting the gun. That's all I need.
Just need a drink fridge.
No recreational facilities. No.
I wonder if the Emperor is a good Emperor. Like the first Death Star blows up, he decides to build another one, and that gets defeated again easily. So if he didn't die, would he have built a third one? Like how many Death Stars would it take for you to realize
Nah, he
there's a
learned
weakness
his
there.
lesson,
It's
bro.
not going to work.
He learned his lesson. That's why he went and isolated himself on that random ass planet and built that humongous ass army
Yeah.
up there.
And each of the ships had the power of the Death Star. They
Hmm.
all had cannons, man. So I was like, what the fuck? The next level. Crazy guy.
Going back to the series, so let's talk about some scenes. So, any scenes that stand out for you guys? Any scenes for you, Eric?
The interrogating for me with Dedra and Krennic was one. Cassian. Oh yeah, Cassian and his soldier buddy and the droid K. Is it K2?
Yeah, so,
Yeah, having their little games and stuff, and they're busting the droid's balls. That was funny. K2 saving the day down that scary ass in the old what do you call it? The old house in the apartment.
safe house.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Did
the word.
anyone order an enforcement droid?
yeah.
Are you with us?
He basically saved the day. That droid. Far out. If it wasn't for him, they would be getting out of that place.
You know, if the Empire have those team of guys, like they look like a SWAT team or something,
Yeah, like mercenaries. Oh,
yeah.
SWAT
Like,
team, yeah.
How come they don't have more of them? So I feel like they would have done better jobs than stormtroopers would.
Probably they're used for operations like those kind of operations.
Yeah, but you don't see them anywhere else. You don't see them anywhere else.
Stormtroopers are just used for target practice.
Stormtrooper bodies with a ISP hit. I was like, why put on the stormtrooper armor and not the helmet? Guys, headshots on.
Because I remember when I was a kid, like for the longest time, I thought stormtroopers were actually robots.
Yeah, me too.
But they're not, are they?
Me
That's
too.
armor. The helmets, eh?
I didn't know they were clones until the movies came out.
But they're not clones, eh?
No, not yet.
Any scenes that stand out for you, Bob?
Yeah, I thought the Claire going to the hospital, like that whole sequence, I thought was really cool because it highlighted how much of a badass she really was.
Yeah.
Like the whole time you just see her with the headset and she's just listening, sending information, blah blah blah, and then you kind of get a glimpse of how much of a badass she is when she's trying to get the listening device off that antique that they had planted, and she's hard out, and then she uses that poor Lonnie guy to come and say, "You better fucking stand there. I'm trying to," and her whole hand's bleeding, and I was like, "Oh, she's legit. She's more than just Ethan's assistant." And then man, that scene I was thinking, wow, I don't know if these security guys are just Gaia, because every time she's walking around, there's a restricted area, like Makwa casual ass. What level of this is a restricted area up here? She's wearing a nurse's uniform, so she must be legit. I was thinking, man, she doesn't have no ID on her like all the other nurses. She's not very. You just can't see that she's not a real nurse. That whole scene, because then at the end when they're sort of investigating, it was like, oh, how many do you think? Oh, it must have been a team of 3. And then we watched the videos. It's like, there's only 3. There's only one person that came in and took out all your guards. So I thought that was cool. I like the building of the story around K2SO, because you see in Rogue One how tight him and Cassian are, so it was cool to see them add K2SO scenes into the remaining 3 episodes, like that whole playing poker or whatever it was that they were doing in there back on Yavin with their roommates and playing cards and that whole sequence. I thought, oh yeah, he was a bit of a comic relief on Rogue One, so I was wondering how they were going to insert his comic relief into Andor, because it's been such a serious right throughout the 2 seasons. There's been nothing comical or anything. You know how you get like Han Solo, who's a bit of a crack up guy, cracks jokes every now and then. K2SO was that guy in Rogue One, with the whole landing on Scarif and I've got a bad feeling about those funny moments that he had in Rogue One, and he had funny moments in Andor as well. And it was interesting to see that whole change of from super serious to K2SO vibes, where he's just walking and gargling guys everywhere, and are you with us? Bang! No, carrying on. So it was, it was cool to see because you knew K2SO's character from Rogue One, but I was just wondering, I wonder how they're gonna bring his lightheartedness and his crack up one-liners into Andor, because that's definitely not been the tone of the whole of Andor. It's been super serious. It's been, super ground, setting up all the bits and pieces leading into the rebellion starting. And I thought it was cool that they brought him in. It didn't seem out of place, the stuff that he did, because he needed to rescue Cassian and get Claire out of the safe house, and he needed to do that stuff. So, those were the bits that stood out. It was interesting rewatching Rogue One, and when you see Yavin and you see them, and it's just like the rebel base is a shithole in the middle of a crappy rain forest. It's muddy, it's yuck, the weather sucks, it's wet everywhere, and you don't get that vibe from watching Star Wars or whenever you saw Yavin before, and you rewatch Rogue One, and they've got this this is the good guys music, score in the background, it's like trumpet, lion space. It looks like the same shitty forest, but it's not like Andor. Like you only see Rogue One; it's in the daytime. Yavin and Andor is at nighttime. The rain. It's a ghetto place to stay, but it's like, man, this is how the rebels live, man. We don't live in luxury. We live in these huts with leaky ass roofs. It rains all the time. Yeah. And then you rewatch Rogue One and you see it's got this positive spin, the light, 4 rebel bases. Yeah. So
that's one of the reasons why I love Andor, man. What you were just saying, because you're right. Because the rebels at that time, Star Wars is run by Mon and every other ex-senator. They used to be on the Senate, right? And they're from that type of world, clean cut. They're used to their mansions and all their fancy stuff back on Coruscant, and they're reduced to being in this sort of like a cave, and living in the trees and hiding and that. So they come across as being, when you watch Star Wars, when you see the rebel base, and you hear the trumpets and all that, the clean cut stuff that talks to Mon and her crew, and everyone else that's now leading the rebels, because the dirty stuff's dead. The dirty stuff that got them where they are, they're in the past. That's Luthen and everything else that's helped them along the way. So and that's why Andor is cool, because it takes you back to how it gets you into that story of back to how the rebellion starts, and it's not anything that's pretty. It's getting your hands dirty. It's street level stuff, You got to get through the street level stuff to get where they are, and Andor does a good job as to take us there to see what that looks like, and that's what I love about Andor, about the whole series.
Nothing highlights how poor you can get at the rebel base more than Mon's haircut. Flash clothes, big poofy hairstyles,
to a straight ball cut.
No hairstylists on Yavin. There's no salons down there, man.
I was cracking up at those scenes too of Yavin where they have this trumpet like music playing in the background every time they took shots of the sets in Yavin when you be introduced to as an audience. It's crackle. But it's like, hey, it wasn't like that before.
You don't get that on Andor. You don't get that inspirational, building hope type music to introduce you to the rebels. All you get is, man, this rebels these are the cheap bargain basement version, the Timu version of the rebel alliance.
Even the equipment, like how the X-wings, some of them were different colors. And probably different parts of different machines. Crackle. Second-hand parts.
So yeah, man. There's another character that's not in Andor but is around that time, and that's that's Admiral Thrawn. So he's
yes.
in the Rebels cartoon.
Yeah.
So he's out there too. So he's another character that I think what they're gonna do, because he's coming back now. He's come back now, and they're gonna do that Mandalorian movie. And I think he's gonna be in there. I think he's gonna be the main
Villain.
bad guy.
Stuck in that other galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's
So-
back now.
Yeah, he's heading back. He's got the coordinates and everything from the yeah. So he's jumping the gates, coming back home with the zombie crew, the zombie troopers, stormtroopers.
Another good scene is the end, the last scene, not the baby scene, but when Andor's he's walking to the aircraft, ready to go on his next mission. He's walking like the man, and like they got the soundtrack going on, and a bit of a montage what all the other characters are up to. We see
Yeah, that was good. That
we see Deidre in prison, and we see all the other characters like Val and Claire.
and Mons X. I was wondering what happened to that guy.
So
Oh,
he's-
in the car.
Yeah, he
Find out in
was
the car.
drinking with one of her girlmates. Eh? This guy. Eh? Oh man.
And Bale is going back to Alderaan, and he's gonna get blown up soon.
yes, that's right.
Yeah. But man, that was a cool scene, and that pulled at my heartstrings, because I knew it was the end, but I knew Andor he was walking to his death. It was like kind of sad.
I think that lady, the one that told him she was a messenger, knew it too.
Oh, the Force healer.
Yeah,
Oh.
she was just looking at him like, "Oh, should I tell him? Should I tell him he's gonna die?"
It was a good foreshadowing, getting her to come on. I think that scene
Yeah.
with Bix and the baby kind of makes you realize that because you knew what Cassian, what his story ends up in Rogue One, you
Yeah.
kind of, as the audience watching, you now realize, so let this guy sacrifice heaps.
Oh,
This guy didn't even know he had a baby. But then you kind of understand now why Bix left. Because had
Mhm.
she stayed and he had a child, and his whole focus would have been, yeah,
on the child.
let's go. We'll bail from here. You guys are my only priority. But I think she saw the bigger picture and how much the rebellion needed him to stay there. So,
The sacrifice is a big theme in Andor.
Yeah,
Big sacrificing her love for the rebellion. Here's Luthen sacrificing his life. He gives his whole life to the rebellion. And he teaches guys that come off him, that learn from him, is Cassian and Claire.
Luthen was playing the game, man. He was playing
Yeah.
that game for years.
I know.
Mm.
So, even before the Death Star was built, this guy was pulling strings and influencing stuff. And then they met that guy who was the antique guy that he knew to take the thing to. So it was like, oh, that's another sort of call back to what he eventually ends up being. His whole cover story is the antique selling guy on Coruscant. So
Yeah, good cover.
So now we're finished with Andor. Where does it rank for you guys?
In Star Wars,
Yeah, and all Star Wars stuff. Where does Andor rank now?
it's up there. It's probably at least top 3. It's way up there. And it's within the Star Wars. I wouldn't think anything like this would be in Star Wars universe. I've always used the lightsaber stories, or like the latest one that came out. What was it called? Shipwreck? Oh, Skeleton Crew. Like something like Skeleton Crew. I never thought anything like this mature would be coming out of Star Wars. And it's great material. I just hopefully there's more material like that for Star Wars, and hopefully there's a movie like a trilogy like that for Star Wars, even better. It would be awesome if there was something similar to this.
How about you, Mo?
Yeah, I think it's probably up there with Mandalorian. I think in terms of the TV stuff, or the series stuff, it's pretty good. In terms of a complementary series to Rogue One, because I thought Rogue One was probably one of the best Star Wars movies since maybe the original trilogy. They they nailed it. They had all the nostalgia there. You kind of knew what was happening and where it was leading up to. So all of that information you kind of already knew going into Rogue One. But now it's like, oh my gosh, this is that one scene in Star Wars where Mothma talks about many friends. We lost many good people.
Yeah.
Information. So, when you rewatch Star Wars New Hope, and it's like, oh, okay, you don't know who these. We lost a lot of good friends, a lot of good people getting this information, but they took that one little, whatever it was she said, and made a whole of Rogue One. So it's like,
Yeah.
man, I'm so right there with you, invested in all these people. And they took it a step further and they created Andor, which is like, wow, now we have these bridges of series that bridging all these gaps between different movies and different periods of time, before Yavin, before battle. And yeah, it's pretty cool, man. Like I enjoyed Andor because it was just as good as Rogue One. It would have been disappointing if Andor was terrible because I had such high expectations after watching Rogue One. Like Rogue One was such a good movie, and when they announced Andor, I was like, man, I hope this is a good TV series because I really, really liked Rogue One, and man, it has been. So because it was just as good as the Rogue One movie, like that it's on par with Rogue One for me, and Rogue One is right up there behind those original trilogy. I can't even. It's that for me. Original trilogy, and then Rogue One, Andor, Mandalorian. That's how I rank those ones, and then all those other ones after it.
True. It's funny because when I watched Rogue One again, I kind of like Andor more than Rogue One. Before it was Rogue One. After I watched season 1, I was like, oh yeah, Rogue One's still there. But after season 2, now Endor's kind of swapped places with Rogue One for me. So yeah, Rogue One's not up there anymore for me, but Endor is.
So your top 3, I'm guessing, is Empire, Andor, Rogue One?
Nah, it's Empire, Return of the Jedi, and then probably Endor, and then Rogue One. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I've got. Yeah, if I were to put on my ranking top 3, it'll be Empire, it'll be Rogue One, then Andor. I think.
Oof.
Yeah, that'll be my top 3. But yeah,
That
man,
is-
I hope this sparks something out of
Fuck yeah. Me
out
too.
of Disney to pursue more stories like this level of storytelling and the future Star Wars stuff. I know they're into the whole genre thing, so each sort of series has their own sort of genre. Andor is a spy thriller. Mandalorian's a cowboy and western. Yeah, so
Just hope
see what
for the
happens.
best. Hope for the best. It's probably the best Star Wars stuff since that bullshit ass Acolyte. Fuck, I hate that show.
Everyone's hating on Acolyte. Everyone's hating on Acolyte. That should be erased, I think.
Yeah, last year
I
was
still want
bad.
them to do a season 2. I just want them to do it better.
Yeah.
It's like,
Nah,
come on.
If they're gonna do season 2, start with a whole different story, or
It's like
someone they can write better.
you've just introduced Yoda in the last seconds. You better have heaps of Yoda in there.
And have a battle of Darth Vegas.
I think Andor is testament to what I think George Lucas, his vision for Star Wars. Because if you think about what Andor is in Rogue One, we're taken out of the whole Skywalker saga, right? It's in the same universe, but telling a different story of different characters.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's what the future of Star Wars is going to be, and that's what it is, right? It's in a timeline. They choose a timeline and tell a new story in the galaxy. So
Yeah, there's
yeah,
enough room for that too.
I'm surprised they haven't delved into the timeline around Force Awakens. Hey, everything seems to be Return of the Jedi, straight after, and
Uh,
before the original Star Wars. They haven't really gone into the timelines in between Force Awakens and
Return of the Jedi. That line. Oh no, they have with the Mandalorian.
yeah,
He's
but I'm
like,
talking
what?
about like up to
Force Awakens.
yeah, like after in between Force Awakens and what's the last Jedi?
Can't even remember that second bullshit ass movie.
Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
We'll see what happens.
Yes.
you know those 3 movies? I just watched a little doco on George Lucas, and he had an idea for the trilogy, gave it to Disney, and Disney gave it back and ran it with what we got, The Last Jedi and The Return of the Skywalker, or whatever the last one was. Those 3: Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and
Rise
I
of
can't
Skywalker.
even remember the last movie. I was like, oh, okay.
Rise
I
of
wonder what he had in mind.
I would want to know.
Man.
Because after those prequels, they
Yeah,
sucked.
what-
eh?
After
The
Disney
prequels.
Disney put up, man, shit.
Prequels
Yeah.
suck. Terrible stories.
Especially what he did to Anakin. That was the
I
worst.
hate you. It was sucky. Bro, Anakin on that, like you said it, Anakin on the animated TV series was way cooler.
They're trying to do that. I think they knew the fans didn't like the movie version.
You did see it on the Ahsoka when when the Ahsoka did a flashback with Anakin. You kind of see that animated Anakin
He
thing,
was Rebels
but yeah,
Anakin.
Mandalorian.
I think they've started making the next Star Wars movie.
It's a Grogu movie.
Is there a season? What are we up to? Season 4?
Yeah, this Mandalorian and the Grogu movie scheduled for release in theaters on May 22nd, 2026.
Oh,
Oh,
They're
next
interesting.
also making a Star Wars Maul Shadow Lord series in 26. Star Wars Visions Volume 3. And Star
Those are
Wars
pretty cool.
Starfighter. Did you watch that? Visions?
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Man, that samurai one was badass.
The animation on those are cool.
Right.
Different styles in that.
What was the latest one I saw on Disney? Tales of the
Underworld.
Yes, Tales of Underworld. That was cool too. The origin stories of Cad Bane. I think Ahsoka should be coming up soon too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Season 2 of that one. There.
Yeah. Well, General Thrawn should be. Yeah, if he's on his way, I don't know if he's going to pop up in that season.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
he'll make for a good baddie in a new movie.
Yeah, we need a new baddie. Emperor Palpatine is.
Right. After they
Over
killed
and
all
over.
over Palpatine's legacy, man. It's like,
When he came out of the last
this
movie,
shit.
when I saw him in that last movie, I was like, he's back again. Fuck.
What?
Why
was
even?
like,
Why
what?
even bother?
You know what? They had a perfectly good villain in Snoke, and then they killed
Yeah.
him off.
Yeah,
What?
What a waste.
he was a cool dude. And then when they chopped him, when he got chopped in half, I was like, what?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
I
You
was
know
like,
that.
why did they do that? Like, normally when they kill characters off, there's a reason. There's meant to be lots of, purpose and what you get back from it. Man, that was just like a pointless killing for no reason, and you got nothing back from it.
That whole movie was pointless, just like them going back and forth from that stupid ass planet, from the casino planet.
So
I was
that
like,
Luke
what?
Skywalker drinking milk out of that animal's tit, I was like, what have they done to Luke Skywalker?
That's a good point you guys raising, because how does the future of these, what happens with the First Order? They come up. The rebels are now the resistance. Resistance of what? Isn't who's in control of the whole thing? It's still the New Republic, right? And they just get blown up. They just blow up the planet with all of them in there.
They blew up 6 planets.
Yeah. So there's no more New Republic. So how does that resistance start? You don't even have to have another Lutheran to start a new resistance. And that new empire, the First Order, they're not even control of the whole galaxy yet, right? So I
Yeah.
didn't get that. If Andor throws all this off now,
Because Andor's still referencing what was a really believable bad guy group. First
Yeah.
Order, when that sort of came out, I was like, these guys are the teamy version of the Empire. Like, seriously,
Exactly, yeah.
First Order were just like a bunch of imbeciles. It's like, because they didn't have like this super crazy mystic Sith Lord controlling them, it just seemed like a whole bunch of wannabe bad guys, but weren't really as ruthless. It was like these guys,
and they were just running around in their ships.
yeah.
No, on
Like
the planet too.
they weren't
Oh, yeah.
expensive. They weren't everywhere.
Yeah.
Like the Empire was, right? Empire's everywhere, right? So they were in control. The First Order isn't everywhere, and if I feel like they're just in one little group. They're sort of like the
little
rebels
army.
were in
Yeah.
the original Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah. And they were chasing after the rest of the what was the alliance? I mean
And
That's
then
weird.
because of all the public feedback saying that they were a shit bad guy and they weren't very believable as the big bad in the Star Wars universe as it was forming, they brought Palpatine back. We need some rewrites. We need the original baddie back.
Oh,
No
what?
one's buying into the fact that these guys are a scary presence in the galaxy. They were shit. It's like,
they were more believable on the first movie with the planet killer. The actual Death Star planet thing. But then
Star
that thing
Killer
got blown
Base.
up.
So
Yeah.
Star Killer Base is a planet. It doesn't move. So how do they get around?
No, the laser shoots like from there to the end of the galaxy.
Well, those lasers go into light speed to another.
Oh shit! Oh,
Man, they didn't cross their T's, dot their I's on that one.
No, they did not, man.
They need to talk to some scientists about that proportion shit on the bloody the planet Star Killer or whatever it's called.
Oh, see again. This is how good Andor is. The writing on Andor covers everything that's already been done. Right now, it sort of fucks up the sequel trilogy now. Like none of that formula works in the sequel trilogy now. Like we had, like we spoke about when we were kids, right? How did the rebels start? How did the Empire come to be? Like those questions were answered now very well.
Yes.
We have these questions. How does the First Order start from scratch? How are we going to write that in now?
No one's asking that question.
No one's asking that question.
No
one's asking that
shit,
question.
Man.
No one's asking, I wonder what happened to fucking the last Skywalker Palpatine. I can't even remember her name. What was her name?
Ray.
Fucking Ray.
This is not even a Skywalker
Like,
too.
I'm not even interested to know what's happening to Ray in the future. Like, they need to just retcon that whole fucking thing, forget Ray, and maybe redo a story from way back that introduces the Sith like properly in a movie. Like, not.
Well, here's my hot take
acolyte
on it.
style.
Right, here's my hot take on it. Disney is so woke that they didn't want Luke to be the leader of the new Jedi Order, so they made him into this hermit. They killed him, and they replaced him with Rey. Now Rey's gonna go ahead and start the new Jedi Order because they wanted a woman to do.
She's gonna get her own movie soon.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
Maybe they could bring Hayden in as a Force ghost.
Wake up, bitch!
They need to connect it somehow to bring some sort of nostalgia back, and for Star Wars fans to care about anything that she does. The only people that are going to be interested are people who might want to go and watch a new movie that comes out. But Star Wars fans are so divided that
they're just gonna be like, nah, no.
Hard out. Like, yeah, it's what sucks is because Andor's been so awesome that shitty movie that Rey does, or starring Rey Skywalker, people will go and watch it because of what Andor gave us. They're gonna be like, yeah, man, let's go watch it. So,
it was me.
High. And then
Last Jedi, yeah, let's go check that out.
Andor was prestige TV, right?
Yep.
And when Disney recognizes that, when Andor gets all the accolades, gets all the social media feedback, that is one of the greatest prestige TV series that we have, especially for a Star Wars stuff, especially for Star Wars, let alone Star Wars, because it might be prestigious in terms of general storytelling or general TV, right? So it might push forward. It might push forward them to get similar sort of people to write like that.
Hopefully.
They've got a massive challenge ahead of them. Because
Yeah.
the original Force Awakens trilogy had all of the old characters that they could sort of call on and bring them back, sort of link them to the original fandom base. These race stories are going to be full of none of those people that connected to the first Star Wars trilogy. So it's a brand new story with... And how invested are you really, considering you dropped the ball? You introduced all the old characters and you killed them all off. It's like, you killed Leia, you killed Han Solo, you killed Luke Skywalker. But,
Yeah, and then they bring in someone that looks like Yoda, but a female version. So they got a female Luke and a female Yoda.
Are they going to do a second Obi-Wan story where he sees Qui-Gon's Force Ghost? Like, I'd be interested to watch something like that.
Really, a whole series about that.
What's that?
Hobbies, bits and pieces of it.
Oh,
yeah.
That'll be like his will be straight after Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan season 1.
Yeah, because he sees Qui-Gon, didn't he? And Qui-Gon's like, "Oh, about bloody time.
Yeah.
I've been standing here for ages, man. Shit."
Okay, boys, that's us. We'll just wrap it up. So, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Next time Star Wars stuff comes on, we'll be on the podcast. Well, thanks, Bob. Thanks, Eric, for jumping on.
Good Star Wars.
We'll catch you guys up next time.
All right. Anytime else.
boys.
All right. Bye.
Shoot.